Hey guys, from time to time I get a question about, hey, if I already have money, 10 grand, 20 grand, $50,000, where should I put it? Where should I start? Now, my answer is very often the same exact answer. The problem with any answer is that it is specific to the person who's asking the question. So today, we're gonna be having a conversation with a guy named Ty. I met Ty a couple of days ago at a Houston meetup. If you guys aren't going to any meetups, go to whereispace.com to make sure you know where I'm going, what events I'm speaking at, what meetups I'm gonna be attending, etc. You guys can come out and have conversations with me. Now, Ty asked me a question as I was standing in line meeting everybody, and he said, I have 50 grand, what should I do first? And I'm like, oh man, that's such a hard question to ask while we're in line because it requires probably a 20-minute, 10-minute, 7-minute, 35-minute phone call, okay? And I'm about to call Ty in about 2 minutes, and this is my thought process. Whenever I'm thinking about somebody, this is you. You obviously want 3 things. You always want to be more, right? You want to work on your personal self. You want to be more. You want to have more, meaning more money, more options, etc. And you want to do more, right? More vacations, more whatever, right? You want to have more, be more, do more. That's what you want. You just essentially want more. And that's too ambiguous of a conversation to have. And so today we're going to talk to Ty. I'm going to call him here in a second. You want to be more, have more, do more. Perfect. What does that mean? How much money do you have? I think Ty has 50 grand is what he's saying. But I think most people I answer that question to are going to be somewhat similar. Regardless of the amount of money, it's more about the person, you. And I'll ask him a series of questions. I want you guys to be asking these questions to yourself, and then I'm gonna be whiteboarding this out as I'm having a conversation with him. So let's get into it.
Hey, Pace.
What up, Ty? How you doing, bro?
Doing good, man. Yourself?
I'm really good. Thanks for being patient with me.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Okay, what city are you in?
Houston.
Okay, so you live in Houston.
Yes.
Do you know what you want to do? Are you trying to accumulate rentals? Are you trying to build a team? Are you trying to find active income? Are you trying to work on passive income? In your mind, you wake up in the morning, you think of investing money. What is the thing that comes to mind?
Right. So I got a W-2 at Oracle, basic insurance. It has to be some combination of passive and portfolio. That's how I see it. And then, as I get smarter, as I get more and more exposed to it,
okay,
I'll probably become more active. But it's just too much for me on my plate to try to do it all at once.
Okay.
I've just seen it.
Okay, perfect. So I always look at the active income first. And so I'm glad you have a really great active income job, because what I tell people to do is do not quit that job.
No.
And a lot of people will go, I'm going to quit my job so I can go full-time in real estate. That definitely is not you.
No.
Cool.
No, not at all. That funds the opportunities.
Perfect. I'm glad we're on the same page. I always tell people that have a good job to do that. Now, what'll happen is you'll hear people that will talk about wholesaling, and you'll hear people that talk about fix and flip.
Right.
Do you know why people do wholesaling and fix and flip?
To build bankroll. That's the only reason I can think of.
That's it. They are lacking active income. Now, some people will do fix and flips because they have a passion for, remodeling, and they have a passion for the trades, and they really love that part of it. But nobody loves wholesaling. I'll tell you that right now. So people go and do wholesaling, which I do wholesaling as well. I've done it for a long time, but wholesaling is really a great way for somebody who doesn't have any income. So typically, and the reason I tell you this is to just check this out of your mind to make sure you are on the right page. Typically, it's somebody who's like, I don't want to go to college. I hate a corporate environment. Like I'm allergic to it, which is me. There's no possible way you could pay me enough money at Oracle to be able to sit down at a desk. My personality, I would break out in hives, right?
Right.
And there's good parts to that, but then there's also a lot of bad parts to that of being that person. You've got benefits that I don't have, and I have benefits that you don't have as an individual, which is great. Okay, cool. So typically it's somebody who hates their job, or they've never had a good job. They don't want to go to college. They know that's not a good fit for them, but they also know that real estate in general is 100% a guaranteed way to become wealthy. So they go, all right, what am I gonna do? I also don't wanna be an agent, because agents, oh my gosh, there's nothing worse than being an agent. So
right.
The 3 active incomes that I look at in real estate is wholesaling, fixing and flipping, and being an agent. And you don't wanna be any one of those, okay?
No.
Perfect. Okay, so we already know that your active income is taken care of. The only reason you would do active income is if you hated your job, you didn't work at Oracle, etc. Perfect. Now, there's 2 ways that you can make passive income and future wealth. And so people that have active income, I Sorry, you're gonna hear some babies crying in the background because I'm working from home.
You're fine, man. My daughter's here. She's off to school today.
Okay, perfect. So now, some people, this may or may not be you, this is where some of the personalized questions will come around, is they'll go, I don't wanna wait for my active income to grow to a point for me to start accumulating rentals and property, okay? And so what they do is they'll typically go to the wholesalers, they'll go to the agents, and they'll say, bring me deals that are creative finance so I don't have to have big chunks of money, I don't have to use my credit, I don't have to use my W-2 to start accumulating rentals, okay? Now, if you don't have active income, do you know what the BRRRR strategy is?
Yes.
Okay, if I don't have active income and a good W-2, can I go do the BRRRR strategy?
That's a good question. I don't know, because that initial acquisition cost is going to cost you, if you're doing traditional BRRRR.
If you do traditional BRRRR, forget about the money. You have to have credit, and you have to have a W-2, and you have to go to a bank and say, hey, I'm bankable, right? So the reason why so many people come to me is because they know with creative finance, I don't need to use a bank. I don't need to use any of my own money. I can go and raise money, okay? I can go find partners. So here's my question. Do you want to do this entirely on your own and rob yourself of future relationships?
No.
Okay, so you want to find, perfect. So you want to find partners.
And let you know, I used to be a financial advisor at Merrill Lynch before I started.
Got it. So you got some.
I used to, not anymore. But I think I can, on paper, no one is going to be like, get this guy out of here. They're going to actually be like, we never listen to this guy. This guy's pedigree.
Okay, cool.
Merrill Lynch, Oracle, Salesforce.
Okay, cool. So here's a question. You don't want to be on the phone looking for deals. You want people to bring you deals, correct?
Correct. Preferably, yes.
Okay, so either A, you're going to have to join a community of people that are full of deal finders because you are not going to be a deal finder. Okay, either A, you're joining a community, because where are you going to find those people? At a meetup?
That would be tough.
So if you go to, let's say you go to a free meetup and you go and try and find these people. What is the filter that those people have gone through to make sure that those are quality human beings at a free meetup?
Right, there are none. No.
Right. I want to cut in here while we're making this video and let you know that we have the Squad Up Summit coming up. Go to squadupsummit.com to join. I'm going to tell you why you should be coming. You should be coming in and learning creative finance, creative deal structure, creative lending, creative paperwork, all the things that creative finance is changing the game with. My community is coming out. Subto, Astro, Gator, Vina Jetty's community, top tier transaction coordinators are coming out. All the people that do the creative finance paperwork, yeah, you're gonna meet them there. So if you feel like you're an island out there, like maybe you've read this book, right? You've read Wealth Without Cash. You're like, okay, what next? Cool. Well, now you know what you can do. You know what's possible. But who's going to help you get through it? You've got to meet some of my leaders in the community, and the best place to meet them is at the Squad Up Summits, April 23rd, 24th, and 25th in Orlando. I want to see you there. I'll be out there hanging out, some of the best speakers. I'm going to be the main real estate speaker. Jamil's going to be the main real estate speaker. We'll have Vina Jetty and some other people, but it's actually going to have a lot less speakers than most events. While everybody else is trying to cram speakers and give you way too much information, we're going to be building your business live. We're going to be giving you homework right there live. We're going to be guiding you through it, so when you walk away, you've actually built something, you've done something, and you've squad up with powerful leaders in my community that we've been building for years. Go to squadupsummit.com. I can't wait to see you April 23rd, 24th, and 25th in Orlando. Get back to the video. Okay, so either A, you're joining a community of people that you already know are vetted people, that a significant portion of those people in that community are deal finders, okay? Right. And those people, like in my community, for example, the people in my community, they have an avatar called direct to seller or direct to agent visionary or scout. I will call them a scout. They wake up in the morning, their entire thought process is, I'm calling sellers, I'm knocking doors, I'm cold calling, I'm sending out mail, I'm doing PPC, I'm doing PPL. PPL means pay per lead. And they are on the phones negotiating with sellers all day long, following up with sellers, building systems and processes, having CRMs, doing all these things that you never want to do, okay? Those people are scouts, okay? So you have to find a scout that's gonna bring you a deal. That could be Jamil's community at Astro Flipping. That could be Jerry Norton. He has some people in his world that are scouts. But you'll have to join a vetted community if you wanna just skip the line. So you've gotta find a scout, because you're not going to find these deals on your own. That's not what you're going to be good at. If you have an active job, I'm going to tell you right now that you're not going to scour the MLS. You're not going to negotiate with agents, because agents, you have to go and network with agents and tell them what you want. You essentially are being a scout. You don't want to be a scout. That's a full-time job. You want to find people that are finding deals that don't have the same capacity that you have. So a scout, typically somebody who's a wholesaler, a fix and flipper, or even an agent that's been in the business for less than 10 years, they have zero capacity to own these properties that they find. So what are they looking to do? They're looking to find somebody like yourself that either A, has the money, or B, has partners. So there's two things that you're gonna wanna find. How much money do you have?
I'll probably have about 50K liquid and,
cool.
About 400K trapped in 401 in retirements that I can be. You can do 401k loans to yourself.
Yep.
Or
yep.
just pull it out and just pay the penalties. Just go ahead and do it. Or I can open up a self-directed IRA and invest in that. So there are a few options in there.
So here's my thing. Every single deal that I do, I always think, how do I do deals without any money? So when people come to me and they go, I have 50 grand, I go, why do I care?
Right.
Because if you have the mindset of I'm gonna use my own money, guess what's gonna happen? Very quickly, you're gonna run out of money by doing one deal, two deals, whatever, right?
Right.
So forget about your money. The money shouldn't even be there. The money shouldn't even be a consideration. Your skill set that you're bringing to the table is two things. One, your desire and your risk tolerance of owning these properties. That's skill set number one. And then skill set number two is networking with the appropriate people. If you do those two things, you'll never have to use money ever again. Okay?
Risk tolerance and, hold on, I'm writing it down.
Yep, risk tolerance and networking. Why do wholesalers not buy properties? Why do agents not buy properties?
They don't have the money.
They don't have the risk tolerance and they don't have the networking.
Okay.
All right. You need to come in here? Oh yeah, come on in here. Of course, it's like the second I start filming, plumber has to show up, baby has to start crying. You know how it is. It's like nothing happens for 5 hours, and the second I start filming, it's like, hey, can I come in? It's so funny how it works.
Murphy's Law. Murphy's Law. That's always how it is.
Okay, so an agent, a typical agent, you're gonna run into them. You might look at an agent or a wholesaler and you go, why aren't you guys buying these deals yourself? And the reason being is because they have a lack of two things, which is one, the desire and risk tolerance. That's number one, desire and risk tolerance. And two, the networking capabilities. What does networking mean? It means that you know how to put the right people together on a deal. I am a deal finder as well as somebody who buys deals from deal finders. You are not going to be a deal finder. You are going to be somebody who buys deals from deal finders. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, because you already have active income. So you don't need to replace your active income with finding deals and building a whole system and process of finding deals. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
Okay, cool. Because when you become a scout or you become a wholesaler, let's call them a wholesaler, you end up finding a lot of deals that are not in your buy box, and you can't just go, well, that doesn't fit my specific deal structure of what I'm looking to buy, so I'm gonna avoid working and negotiating these deals. So what that means is you're gonna get 10 opportunities that come into your pipeline as you're cold calling or hiring people to door knock or whatever it is that you're doing to find those deals. 9 of those deals will not fit your criteria. And so in essence, if you are out finding your own deals, you cannot scale without also being a wholesaler, because the cost of marketing is so expensive that you will have to offset the cost of marketing by wholesaling some of those deals to other people. That is a very active and full-time job, being a wholesaler. You do not want to be a wholesaler. I'm going to say this 100 times to you, because what I see people do is you'll watch somebody's YouTube channel, you'll read some book, you'll see somebody on stage, and they're like, here's how you find deals. And they'll talk about cold calling, and you need to immediately go, that's not for me. Okay.
I'm literally going to do everything that you say. I've seen it all. I've probably seen 100 hours worth of YouTube videos.
Perfect. You've watched 1% of my videos. Perfect. Okay, so check this out. So what's the skill set that Ty has? Okay. Ty has, again, you have a desire to hold property and you have a risk tolerance that wholesalers and agents do not have. Therefore, you have the ability to network with a specific goal, whereas wholesalers are afraid of their own shadow, okay? This is why a lot of wholesalers wholesale, is because they're like, I'm afraid of responsibility and tenants and owning properties, and I'm gonna go get a bunch of money, and honestly, that's the right path for them. But somebody like you've already gone through what it required you to work at Oracle. Bro, you've already acquired the skill sets, you've already acquired the networking capabilities, you already know what it feels like to go get hard things done. Wholesalers, for the most part, have never experienced those types of things. And so wholesaling is something they have to go through to be refined by the fire of challenge. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So if I'm gonna network, let me give you a good example. I've got 50 lots. About 4 years ago, I ran into 50 vacant lots. They're just literally dirt in the middle of a city. Let's just call it Maricopa. 50 lots, dirt. So how did I find them? I found them by cold calling a list, which you are never going to do in your life. I found them by calling a list. Does it matter if I called the list myself and negotiated with the seller, or if I just found somebody who does that and I pay them a fee? No, it does not matter. You're gonna end up being the latter. You're gonna be the guy, and I'm gonna hit this 5 more times until you truly understand this. You are a buyer. You are not a scout. So you need to be buying from scouts, okay? So in this story, I was the scout and the buyer. 2 completely different tasks. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So when I tell you this story, I want you to understand that I was the scout, I found the deal, but I also bought the deal. Those are 2 completely different hats I was wearing at 2 completely different times with 2 completely different motives and operations separate from each other. It's almost like I'm a Dairy Queen who both sells ice cream and hamburgers, okay? I do both. They're 2 separate business models, 2 separate parts of the company, but I do both. You are not gonna do both. You're doing only one thing. You are a buyer, okay?
I understand. You were the real estate agent and you were the mortgage broker.
Essentially, yes, there you go. Very specific, there you go. Okay, so I find these 50 lots, all right? And I'm talking to the seller, and the seller says he wants $15,000 per lot. And I go, okay, well, why don't I pay you $16,000 per lot, which sounds a little bit crazy. Why would I pay the seller $16,000 per lot? Well, because I went to the seller and I asked him to partner with me on the lots instead of selling them to me like a seller would. This is a different skill set, right? I'm networking with the seller or networking with the people that are bringing these deals to me, and I say, I'll pay you $16,000 for the lot, but not until I have built on the dirt and sold the property, and my buyer who buys the property from me pays me. I will then pay you your $16,000. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, that's a skill set, right? That's a skill set of networking and partnering with people, which is the skill set you're gonna have to focus on. So I go to the landowner. He says, okay, I like that because I've been sitting on this dirt for 10 years. So what do I care if I have to wait another 18 months for you to build on these 50 lots, right? Now, guess what? I don't have to come up with any of that $16,000. So did I need any money to do this 50-acre development? No. But guess what? I'm putting mobile homes on these 50 acres. So who is paying for the mobile homes? Well, it goes back to networking. I went to a mobile home dealer and I said, will you partner with me at 30% of the project by bringing the mobile homes to the project at your cost and floating the cost of the mobile homes? And when we sell these properties, I'll give you 30% of the net profit on every house that we sell. Okay, so did I need money? No, I needed networking. So I brought that guy to the table. Then I'm like, well, who's gonna install them? Who's gonna paint them? Who's gonna do the landscape and the sewer? Who's gonna do all of those things? So I went and found a contractor at 30% as well, and he brought his line of credit. So he had a line of credit at his company that allowed him to float labor, float materials, float all sorts of things, okay? So he covered all of the other ancillary costs, the utilities, the permit costs, the architects, the installation costs, literally everything else was paid for by him. And then I had a guy that brought in a little bit of money where he was short, and that guy, his name was Chris, he was just a lender. And I brought Chris in at 10% of the net profit for him to bring the money to the table, okay? Mm-hmm. So if you add this up, it means 30 went to the mobile home dealer, 30% went to the guy who was the contractor doing the work and managing the project.
Right.
10% went to Chris who brought the money, and I took home 30% for putting it together, okay?
Okay.
I made my net on that project, it was about 18 months, but my net on that project was $1.5 million, and I never used a single dollar of my own. Did I have to manage the project? Did I have to deal with what type of mobile home was the right fit, or the sewer permits? Did I have to deal with the city? Did I have to deal with any of that stuff? No, I was the guy that was better at networking than anybody else, and that's why I made $1.5 million, okay? So that's a high level thing, just to show you what's possible on big stuff. But I get stuff all the time where, for example, I get Subto students that come to me, they're wholesaler, they're going through that phase of, I need today money, I need to pay my today bills. So they go out, they scout for deals, they then know I'm a buyer, they bring those deals to me, they get paid 10 grand, 15 grand. Sometimes the biggest assignment fee I paid was last year was $150,000 on a big apartment complex. And you're sitting here saying, wow, man, if I have to come up with the fees and the closing costs and all that kind of stuff, even if I bought a deal from a Subto student, man, my money, my 50 grand is gonna get eaten up really, really fast.
Right.
Okay, well, this is why I told you the story before, is to tell you that literally everything I need on a deal comes from somebody else. I'm the guy that had the desire and the risk tolerance to glue it all together, and because I'm better at networking than anybody else, I don't need to be a scout to find deals. One, I'm part of a community that is full of scouts, so I become friends with those scouts and I go, when you find a 3-bed, 2-bath house in this city that's a Subto deal with a 3% interest, let me know, I will be your buyer, okay? That's all I have to do. I don't have to call sellers. I don't have to know about CRMs, follow up, negotiate. I don't have to know any of that. All I have to do is find the scout. Okay, so I've got a deal I just bought the other day. It's a duplex. I have a student that brings it to me. His name is Eric. This is the funny thing about Eric. Eric didn't even find the deal. He was the scout that found the scout. Does that make sense?
Yeah, co-wholesale.
He co-wholesaled, yep. We have a student named Luciano. Luciano was direct to seller. He gets a duplex under contract on a Subto deal. And Luciano made $18,000 for assigning it. Eric made $3,000 for assigning it to me. So he made $3,000 scouting for other scouts. Okay, you understand how that whole business works, obviously.
Yes.
You are not that guy. Okay, now, from time to time, Ty, you will get, let's say a Subto community member or a Gator community member will bring a deal to you that you go, that's not a good deal for me, but I do know somebody that is looking for those deals. So from time to time, you will do some co-wholesaling, but you will never be the guy that goes and finds the deal directly to the agent or directly with the seller, because that requires it to be a full-time job, okay? So Eric sells the deal to me. He assigns it to me. I buy the deal. I put it in my portfolio. So I got the deal, not even from the person, my Subto student, Luciano. I didn't even talk to him. I bought it from Eric, who talked to Luciano, right? So there's multiple things happening here before it even came to me. So I never talked to the seller. I never pulled the list. I didn't have to build a CRM, hire cold callers, and do any of that stuff. I just said, I'm buying cash flowing assets that I can put in my portfolio, okay? So what I did is I put in my portfolio my total cost that I had to bring to the table. Actually, I have it right here, actually on my desk. Let me pull it up. My total cost I had to bring to the table on this deal was $46,073.23. Okay? $46,073.23. And for somebody that's sitting there going, I have 50 grand, what should I do next? Anybody else would have told you, go buy a Subto deal and then save up money and go buy another Subto deal. That's not what I do. I will go and get a private money lender inside of my community. This money came from a girl named Debbie. And Debbie is not even a partner on the deal. She's just charging me 10% interest only. So here's how that works. The property I bought on Subject 2 is bringing in roughly $3,500 a month right now with tenants in the property right now. I don't need to renovate it. I don't need to find new tenants. It's already bringing in $3,500 a month.
Okay.
My cost to the seller and the seller's mortgage on a Subto transaction is $2,500. So I have a gross income after my mortgage of about $1,000. Right. If I have Debbie charging me for her $46,000, she's charging me 10%. So let's figure out what her payment is. $46,073 divided by 0.1 equals divided by 12. So her payment to her is $383 a month. Okay. Okay. So if I'm paying her $383 out of my $1,000, guess what? I still have $627 per month that can pay for my management, it can pay for my vacancy, it's basically 20% of my rent is still left over in an account, and I didn't bring $1 to the table. I found the deal from one of the Subto students, I borrowed money from one of the Subto students, and I did a deal without any money involved in the transaction. So when you're talking about tax benefits, I'm getting a property that I think let's see what my purchase price is. My purchase price on this transaction is $542,100. So I just bought a $542,000 duplex with $0 out of my pocket because I had the desire and risk tolerance, and I'm better at networking than other people. Does that make sense?
I'm tracking. Yes.
So when people ask me, I've got 50 grand, what should I do? I'm like, well, I guess you could go.
This is just the pop. The 400 grand is what I'm.
Even then, why do you, but after I just talked to you, why do you want to even use that money?
Well, now I don't. Now I really don't. I don't see a purpose in using it.
There is no purpose.
What the hell do I do with it?
I'll tell you what you should do with the money, okay?
Okay.
Now, if I'm paying Debbie 10% on her money, do you value your money at more than 10% a year?
Yes.
Okay, so if the answer is yes, then why would you ever put your own money in real estate transactions if your money is valued at more than 10%?
From this day forward, I will not do that.
Okay, so now.
I listen to you 100%.
Perfect. So
you drilled it in my head.
I love it. So why would Debbie give me her $46,073 at 10%? Why would she do that?
Either two reasons, because that's what she values her money at, or that might not even be her money.
Two reasons why. The same two things that I told you before. Desire, risk tolerance, and her ability to network. That deal didn't go to her, Ty. It came to me because I'm better at networking than Debbie. I also desire to keep the property in my portfolio. Debbie does not desire to have that risk tolerance of managing tenants, building a team, and the person who has the most risk tolerance and is best at networking than anybody else is the one that stands to make the most money, okay? So would Debbie maybe love to have the ability to buy more properties? Of course, but guess what?
Right.
She also is in a different phase of her life. She's like, I just want passive income. Now, I'm gonna tell you what you should be doing with your money, and this should open up your eyes. Let's see. Hold on, so I gotta wipe my board down. I'm writing down all my notes as I'm talking to you.
No problem.
Okay, so what do I do with my money? I lend my money, Ty. You just heard me say, well, Debbie's lending her money at 10%. Why is Debbie lending her money at 10% and I am willing to go lend my money? If my money's worth more than 10%, why would I go lend my money?
I don't know.
Because I know how to make more than 10%. Okay? Again, goes down to the same exact thing. You got to earn some skills. Write this down and remember this. When people use their own money on deals, real estate deals, it's because they're lazy and or they want really, really passive money, okay? The only passive investor in real estate is the lender, okay? So here's what I do with my money. When I'm lending my money, I make an average of 16% on my money plus equity in other people's deals, okay? This is called the Gator method. You probably have heard me talk about the Gator method.
I've purchased that.
Okay, so this is where I teach the Gator method. So for example, I have a loan that's going out to a guy named Matt Bell today. Shout out to Matt Bell. Okay, so Matt Bell reaches out to me and goes, I need $85,000 for gap funding on a deal. Do you know what gap funding is?
Yes.
Okay, so again, I have the risk tolerance that other people don't have, therefore I deserve to get paid more money. You know where this came from is I was networking. I put a post out on social media and I said, hey guys, I have $165,000 that's just sitting here doing nothing. Let me know if you guys have something I can place it into, okay? So Matt Bell sends me an email and goes, hey, here's this deal. I've got a property that I'm fixing and flipping and then I'm gonna keep into my portfolio long term. I need $85,000 for about 6 months. And I go, no problem. What I'm gonna do is I will charge you 2.5 points up front.
Right.
Plus 2.5% monthly. Okay, so that works out to be like 30% a year, right?
Yes, there's so many questions with that. How you avoid predatory lending, but I'm assuming it's because of the equity piece. So you're part of the deal. So you
There you go. That's the answer. So I then ask for a portion of the equity in the deal. And I say, I will lend this money to you in second lien position if you put me in a secure position as a partner and you give me a portion of that deal. And when you refinance in 6 months, I get all my 85 grand back plus my return, and you keep me on as a partner even after my money has made it back to me. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so do you see why I would put my money into Gator deals? Or like a lot of our students in Gator, they're using lines of credit, or like you, they're using their 401k, because now that money I make with Matt Bell, that can go back in my 401k tax-free, and the equity of that deal can also stay in my 401k and grow tax-free as well if I decide to put the equity in that particular entity that is owned by my 401k.
Right.
Okay, so do you see why I would never put my money in my own deals, and what I would rather do is use my money as soldiers to march into somebody else's deal and take hostages?
Yes, it does make sense.
Now, it does require another series of skills, okay?
Okay.
It requires risk tolerance and desire, like the first one, but it also requires networking, like the other one.
Right. We have those down.
But it also requires the ability to underwrite and determine if it's a good deal or not. Because why would I lend this money on a deal that could fall apart? And
yes, especially coming in as a second. Yes.
You're not really coming in as a second. What you're doing is you're coming on as a partner on the deal. Okay, so you have a lot more strength. You're actually coming in as a part owner of the LLC that owns the property. So you're actually in a stronger position than the first lien position lender, if that makes sense.
Right, and that's all about knowing how to underwrite it. That's
Okay,
a skill set.
And the final one is the paperwork for protection. Okay, so if you are a Gator student, then you already have all this paperwork, and we also have all the breakdowns that Molly will show. Like right now, I wrote an email to Molly this morning. I said, hey Molly, I'm doing a deal with Matt Bell. Please break this all down for the Gators. So she'll break down all the paperwork, she'll break down the structure, she'll break it down, she'll follow it in real time. So every week we'll have a Zoom on this particular deal I'm doing with Matt Bell, so the other Gators can learn the paperwork and protection. Why did I underwrite it, and why did I determine it was a good deal? I will then, the networking and the risk tolerance stuff should be kind of inherent, but the underwriting and determining with paperwork and protection, that's one of the reasons why you bought into Gators, to get access to that stuff. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So what I would be doing is I would be going into the Gator community, which you have access to, and saying, hey guys, I have $400,000 in my 401k. Whatever deals you guys have out there, I will not only do EMD loans, that's Gator 1.0, but I'll also do, you know how many people are doing double closes right now, and you've got $400,000, you could be ripping and tearing. I've got a guy that does 2 points for every double close he does, and he's doing usually 2 to 3 a week. His average double close is 400,000. So think about that. He's doing 2 points, 400,000 is 8. Oh my gosh, wow, my daughter, wow. You've never looked so cute in your life. Look at your cute little outfits.
I'm going to school.
Can I take you?
Sure.
You want me to take you or pick you up? How about I pick you up? Mom takes you and I'll pick you up, okay? Does that sound good?
Yes.
Okay, love you. Okay, go with mama, go with mama. So the $400,000 that he does nothing but Gator 2.0, which is transactional lending. And so he'll deploy his 400 grand, he gets it back usually within 36 hours, and he gets $8,000 every time he does that.
Okay.
So $8,000 3 times a week is $24,000 a week. He's making $100,000 a month on just Gator, just the one strategy of Gator, which is Gator 2.0, and he's using 401k funds. There's so many double close opportunities in real estate, and if that's all you did, right? He's making 25% a month on his $400,000 rolling over. Now the challenge is he commits to a lot of deals 2 weeks ahead of time, a week ahead of time. So he actually has access to more than $400,000. And so you'll run into probably being able to do 1 double close every single week, but that's still 25 grand a month off your 401k that grows tax-free. And now you have more money next month and next month and next month. And after a year of doing that, now you can get up to making 50 grand a month. And then it's 75 grand a month, and so on and so forth. So do you now see why I don't use my own money on my own real estate transactions?
Yes, I do. You have told me a lot. There are some skill sets that I need to learn, obviously.
There you go.
Especially on the first half of the conversation, I got the desire, the risk tolerance, the networking, but there was a skill set that I don't have, and that is being able to vet, I guess, do the underwriting part, but for the deals that you were saying that you didn't put in your money, that example that you gave me for the house that you bought where you borrowed the money and you're making that like, $600 to $700. Being able to vet that on the front end, I don't have that skill set.
Yeah, so one of the things I do for my Subto community is I have an employee named Bo. I pay him 180 grand a year to sit in Subto and just teach people underwriting and look at their deals and restructure them and tell them, hey, I like this deal, I don't like this deal. Yes, you should lend on this deal. Yes, this seems like a good blah, 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 blah. That's all he does, 8 to 10 hours every single day. He does it 2 hours live, and then he does it 8 hours in his email and gets on one-on-ones with people and just breaks things down for them. And they go, hey, Bo, I'm about to buy this deal. What do you think about it? And then we also have 4 other students that run something in the morning where they underwrite people's deals. So Shai and Prakash, they do it Saturdays. Dustin Kircher and Uncle Lanza do it on Fridays. So you've got to be part of a community of people that are doing underwriting on live Zooms with real life examples that you can tune into and go, okay, I see why they didn't like that. I see why they didn't like that. And after about 30 days of tuning into those Zooms, you're like, dude, I can underwrite just about anything. It takes about 30 days, but you need to be learning from people inside a community that are doing actual deals, not YouTube, not a seminar. Because I mean, you go to seminars and they have speakers speak for 45 minutes. Like, what the hell are you gonna learn in 45 minutes?
You spoke, I've sat on some of your calls that you have talked 24 hours. I'll never forget that a few years ago.
Yeah, I had a 26-hour thing and I'm like, I still didn't teach it all to you. There's just so much. It's the same thing with Oracle. Like, you didn't just learn how to go work for Oracle in a week.
No.
It took years of your life. And even besides the degree or the college or the experience you had to accumulate, it was the soft skills of professionalism and how to communicate with people and all sorts of other things, how to write a resume, like thousands of things you've had to learn that you probably don't even realize in order to get that awesome job at Oracle, right? So it's the same thing here. And a lot of people go, that sounds like a lot of work. And I go, thank God it's a lot of work, because it keeps the lazy out of the business.
Right, it separates you.
Literally when people are like, oh, it's so competitive. I'm like, is it? I don't feel like there's any competition in real estate, because I feel like 99% of people that just watch YouTube are never gonna be successful. So what competition are you talking about, right? Like, you gotta be a part of a wolf pack, right? And if you're in Gator or you're in Subto, you're in Astro, you're in somebody else's real estate community, you run in a pack of people that are doing deals. So my question to you, Ty, before we wrap up, is who are the people you are latching onto that are in physical proximity of you that you can rely on more frequently, more often? And you're in Houston. So why aren't you hanging out with Jeff Smith? Why aren't you hanging out with all the leaders down there on Saturdays when they get together?
I don't know them. I didn't even know they existed until you said their names. If you give me their names, I will make sure that I connect with them. And like I said, do everything that you've written down. I have a page full of notes.
Okay, perfect. I'll send you over Jeff Smith's contact information so you can link in with them on Saturdays. We have a community meetup every Saturday down there.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Jeff Smith. All right. So I have a framework, as a visionary. I do understand what you're saying, that the 50 grand doesn't do much. The 400 grand, I can do something with that, but it wasn't what I was thinking at the beginning of the call.
Yeah, it was the same thing with me. What's funny is the worst deals I've ever done in my life were because I had money in the bank. The best deals I have ever done in my life is when I had no money. Is because, one, I was forced to learn the skills that were the most important. I was forced to network with people who had resources I didn't have. And more importantly, I was forced to think creatively, which is why I became the most creative investor in the country, is because I didn't have access to capital. And so when people come to me and they go, I have a bunch of money, what should I do? I go, forget that you have that money, unless you're gonna lend it. If you lend it, now you can wedge yourself into deals. You can have a way more powerful position. And depending on your risk tolerance, okay, now ask yourself this question. Why would Debbie, who lends me money at 10%, why would she not go lend it the same way I lend it?
Either she doesn't have the skill set or she doesn't have the risk tolerance.
There you go. She's a mom, so she pours a lot of time and energy into her kids. She also is at a point where her husband has passed away. She's at a later phase in her life. And so her desire is not the same desire as yours. Her desire is like, If I make 10% a year on my money, that pays for all of my expenses, and that way I'm not slipping backwards against my retirement. This is the best thing for me, and I get to go live this basically carefree life because I'm betting on pace to find the deal, manage the deal, structure the deal, run the deal, and I don't ever have to be involved. I just get a check every month. So you're gonna run into a lot of people that will ask, well, why this and why that, and why did that person lend you at 10%, and why is Ty gonna go and lend at 16% or this, that, and the other? It's because you're at a different phase in your life. The phase of life you're in, Ty, is the same phase I'm in, which is I want to accumulate as much wealth as humanly possible so I can get to a point where I make $1 million a month in passive income that I'm not involved in is ultimately my goal. I don't want to be at 300 grand a month, which is where I'm roughly at. I want to be at $1 million a month. And so I've got probably another 6 or 7 years to get to that point.
Okay, well, I'm trying to get to where you are today, and then I'll be 6 years behind.
Yeah, well, you'll probably be 4 years behind me. You'll do it faster than me. Everybody that learns from me does it faster than I did it. I'm not the best. I just, I created these things, and there's people in my communities that are better at these things than me. It's just that I'm the one that invented it and created the processes for it, and they go and do it faster because they have the shortcut, Yeah. But the shortcut still takes years, and that's why a lot of people just like, wait, you just said years? Like, I want to quit my job right now. I get a lot of those calls, like, how do I quit my job next week? I'm like, you don't.
No, that's a slow process. It's like gaining weight and losing weight.
Exactly.
Don't gain it all in a day. Yeah. Don't lose it all in a day. It's the same process.
Yep.
It's okay.
So, I've given you 43 minutes. I was planning on only doing like 20.
You always give more than you say.
But hopefully this was super helpful. And what I would do is now you got to go do the work, right? And you got to go create relationships and everlasting bonds with people that you've never met before. And I can tell you, when you use your own money, you are robbing yourself from future relationships and future partnerships that you will cherish for the rest of your life. And you already know that because you're a great networker, you're highly intelligent, you're a guy that's accumulated a lot of experience that will compound and actually be very useful for you in Gator and in doing Subto and seller finance deals. So you've got a leg up from where I was, for sure, and you'll do this way faster than me, but you've got work to do. And what I'll do is I'll connect you with 5 or 6 leaders that we have down in Houston.
Yes, I'll say connect me with all the leaders that are in Houston, and I will take the baton and run, and you'll see me, and when you do your thing, I will make sure I shout you out, so I at least remain in your head as someone that you talk to. Oh yeah, I remember that guy. So I definitely will do that.
All right, brother, I appreciate you.
Okay, man. Thanks for the call, man. Really, really appreciate it.
Have a good day.
Okay, you too. Have a good one.
Okay, so hopefully this was helpful. And I get to have these conversations, and a lot of times I'll answer this question in 2 hours. And I think about this all the time. It's just 45 minutes. I hope my editors barely cut this down because this is what I needed to hear. This is why I've done this, right? I've built a community, Subto. Okay, this is more about real estate accumulation, right? Trying to buy real estate with creative finance, cars, and businesses, right? We're now teaching people how to acquire businesses inside of Subto, all with creative finance. So we teach wholesale, we teach fix and flip, we do all that stuff. We do a lot of it, but really I want to accumulate wealth, which is why I built Subto and the community here. I built Gator to lend money and do deals with Subto. So this is all about lending money. And this isn't about lending your own money. This is about lending lines of credit. We teach you guys how to get lines of credit here. We teach you guys how to use 401ks. We teach you guys how to use whole life insurance policies. In fact, I did a 2-hour training this morning for myself to learn more about whole life. And so I'm teaching Gators all of this to go out and lend and make significant chunks of money. Chunks is why I call it Gators, because chomp, chomp, take a chunk of somebody else's deal. This is why I built Gator. And then I built Top Tier TC because the people that were doing all my paperwork and managing my projects and taking all the hard things off my plate was Molly. In fact, I've got Molly, I've got Allison, I've got Shelly, I've got Alyssa, we've got Ashley, who's amazing. Jade is super helpful, she's amazing. We've got Taya, Hannah. Okay, so we've got a team of absolute amazing women that run all of my transactions and my loans. Sub-2 students don't want to do their own paperwork, and Gators don't want to do their own paperwork. So we taught top tier TCs how to get certified in being a transaction coordinator. So if you guys want to learn how to be a transaction coordinator, I'll give you guys a link to a video down below of like, what is a transaction coordinator? This community of people that are doing deals together and Gator amplifying Sub-2, Sub-2 amplifying Gator, and then top tier TC running all the paperwork. It's the most beautifully crafted community of all time. And now you can see why I built it, is because look what you need. You need networking, you need help with underwriting and determining, you need help with paperwork. These are the things that Ty's gonna have to go and learn in order for him to not use his own money. So I spoke really fast. I hope this was helpful. I know it's a long form video, but please leave us a comment. Let us know that we're doing a good job. We've put in a lot of work on this channel, guys, and giving us a like, sharing it with somebody else will truly, truly help out our channel, and it would mean the world to me. So please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You'll see when we go live, and I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.